Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu channel. We are live once again on a Friday. As usual, we bring to you Ubuntu Sports, and join with me on this program tonight is Lameck. Lameck, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports. It's a Friday once again.
Yes, good evening, Reuben, and good evening to the viewers and listeners. It's a Friday, another beautiful Friday. We talk sports once again.
Indeed, to you, our viewers, don't forget to share this broadcast. Tell as many people as possible that Ubuntu Sports is live once again. Tag them, let them know that Lameck is here, and also Lawrence will be joining us very soon. Just to help us understand exactly what is happening in terms of Zambian football. Lameck, how has been your week? And in terms of the sports this week, which game are you going to be looking at?
Well, it's an interesting weekend with a lot of action in the Zambian Super League. For me, I'm looking at Power Dynamos versus Musa because Musa are the underdogs, but they've been punching above their weight. They are pushing for second slot. A win against Power Dynamos will just take them a point below Power Dynamos, and we know if Power fail to win in their next match, we may see Musa
Topping
going
the
top
league.
with a win. Yeah, in their next match. So for me, I'll be definitely keeping an eye on that one. It's a really tough match that I expect a lot of action in that game.
Great. But before we talk about the fixtures for tomorrow and also Sunday, let's look at what's really happening, especially with the national team, the under 20 national team. We know that they're in the camp right now, and they're preparing for the AFCON that is coming up. That's next month. How do you see it, Lameck? How do you want the team to prepare before the tournament starts? We are only remaining with a few days. The tournament is starting on the 15th of February.
A lot is expected from the team. We've seen the developments that have come in. They were expected to play a game against Nigeria, which was unfortunately postponed. They had to. They are also scheduled to play against Senegal in preparatory friendly matches, which have also been postponed due to some reasons, not clearly stated. But both games have been postponed. So we are also looking at which players Coach Chisimbe will pick for the under 20 in Egypt. Because, mind you, we are coming back from the 2017 as previous champions. So as we go into the tournament, there's a lot expected. The team on its own, has been doing a number of friendlies locally, and the performance has been really good. So a lot is expected from the boys, but it's another task for Chisimbe. Can he prove that the doubters wrong, that think the team may be too big for him? He has a lot to do, a lot of work to do in the remaining few days in order to pick the best. He has a big headache in picking the players because the players have been really exceptional in their teams, and also coming into the camp, they have also been doing really well. So a lot is expected from the team, and we shall see how it fares against the tougher opponents like the Nigerians and the Senegalese, because they've always been really tough opponents for us.
Indeed, now, uh, when you look at the team, I know most of us who are going to favor Chipioka Mlenga, someone who is a potential player for the senior national team. Do you think Avram Grant should be looking at this boy and say maybe should also pick him in terms of the qualifiers, the AFCON qualifiers for the senior national team?
Yeah, Chipioka Songa is a talent for the future. Right now, we may not need to rush him into the senior national team because there's a lot of pressure, and it requires a lot of mental strength to make it. He's a talented lad, but sometimes when talent is exposed to harsh conditions at an early age, we may break such a young talent who's developing really well. Yes, he's playing at Zesco week in, week out. Coming into the national team, not for me, I may not fancy it now, but in the coming 6-8 months, I think he may be introduced a little by little. He trains with the national team. I think he's called on to, feature in friendlies also. He's a talented lad. Age is just a number in sports. So we've seen younger players doing it at senior level, but for Songa Chipioka, I think let's manage his development really well, because he's a really someone that will take over from the likes of the Calabas and the likes that have served Zambian football diligently in the past.
Great to hear that. Lameck, we know the team they just won the COSAFA under-20. They're the champions of the Southern Africa. How do you rate them? How far can this team go?
So analyzing the group that the team is in, it's not an easy group. It's a tough group with really tough opponents. How far the team can go for that one, I think they can go as far as the semi-finals. I think that's a standard I should set for them. Personally, I think they should go up to the semi-finals. Yes, we can do it. We can go all the way, but for a standard, we can go up to the semi-finals. That's how, for me, that's the general feeling. I feel the team can go up to the semi-finals.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Semi-finals means that they'll be through to the Olympic champions, right?
Yeah, they'll qualify for. It should be the World Cup. Yeah,
the World Cup.
Yeah. They should be able to qualify if they make it to top 4. Yeah, so that would be a big achievement. But this is a team that hasn't spent a lot of time together like the 2017 boys that spent considerable amount of time together. This one is a team that is being shaped. Their coach was recently appointed as head coach, some 6-7 months ago. A number of the players are just new entrants in the team. A number of the players, are graduates from the under-17. We may also talk about experience, looking at the players, how many players have played at the bigger stage and all of that, how many players can handle the pressure, especially if you're playing against teams with huge backing, huge support in a foreign land. We would also talk about the mental strength of the players. That will be key in determining how far the team can go.
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about Chisimu Dalambewe. He's a coach for Red Arrows, and Red Arrows in the form they are right now. 6 games without a win, 5 losses, 1 draw. Last week they shared the spoils with Kansanshi Dynamos in the Northwestern Province. If you're the CEO of the Red Arrows, can you allow Chisimbewe to leave and go for the national duties when the team is in shambles like this?
Yeah, for Chisi and Red Arrows, I was also thinking about that. It's a tricky situation for the team, but again, Red Arrows is not. I may not say it's not a small team. I think they have good backing on the technical bench. They have Dominic Yobe, who's the assistant, and may take charge in the time that Chisi will be unavailable. Yes, Red Arrows were in a better position when they had Oswald Mutapa, because Oswald is equally qualified and would take over when Chisi wasn't around. This is a tricky position, but if I was Red Arrows, I would be hesitant to let Chisi go because of the form that the team. Look, the team has lost 5 straight matches. They've only drawn 1 in the last 6 games, meaning they've picked up 1 point out of a possible 20. It should be 21 points. Out of a possible 18. Out of a possible 18, they've picked 1 point, which is disastrous for defending champions. Yes, they may have tumbled out of the top 4, top 6, but hope is still there. They can still, put themselves together. They also have Kadidilo Kakonjo on the bench. I think these guys are equally qualified to take charge of the team because they have the experience. They've played for the national team. They know how to handle the pressure. So, yeah, for me, it wouldn't be so much of a negative on the side, but if I were Red Arrows, I wouldn't let Chisi go because of the situation that the team is in. Again, it also goes back to the objectives that the team has.
Well. CV. He wants to make a CV, Chisimbewe. And I know he's someone who's dedicated in terms of national duty. We saw him commanding the team when they won the COSAFA under 20. He's someone who is passionate about the game, and I'm sure he's got a target also when it comes to the AFCON under 20. He wants to win this, so that his CV may become a bit rich, and also maybe aim for the Chipo Polo coach in future uh, with that experience. I don't know how you look at it, Lameck.
I view it with the same lenses you have. Uh, Looking at Chisi, he's also, he may be trying to, build his CV with the national team. That's a positive. Another thing is the Red Arrow situation. It also requires him to be around. It's a tricky situation for for all three parties, Faz, Red Arrows, and also Chisimbewe. But tough times require tough calls. And the under 20 project is a project that Chisi started, with the COSAFAs and the like, building the team. And reaching this stage and letting it go wouldn't be so fair on him and the team. They've been through something so much together. He needs to finish what he has started. But again, as Red Arrows also need him to better their position. Again, it also points back to what Red Arrows want to achieve at the end of it at the end of the season. If they're reluctant in defending the league, they may be focusing on maybe playing continental football. Yeah, they may go ahead and put up a lukewarm approach. But if they want to defend the league, they need to be really active. Yeah, we've seen them sign one or two players, but it's a mental side that I think Red Arrows will overcome. With Chisi around or without Chisi around, I feel the players will step up and produce results. So for Chisi being around, it's a tough call that will require tough decisions, and I'm sure that Chisi is in the best position to decide where he feels would be right. But we all need his attention. Red Arrows need his attention, and the nation also needs his attention.
Yeah, because on the latest interview that I saw on the first TV, it was the assistant coach actually reading the youngsters, the under 20, taking them through, because GC is preparing for the league games with Red Arrows, and the way the fixtures are coming for them, they're not they're not easy. And looking how they have been losing points, they've been donating points actually, giving 3 points to a lot of teams, including ZSL United, who are also struggling like them. But they picked up 3 points, and it was a big scoreline, 3-0. I'm sure don't be easy for Chisimbewe. Really expect to look at the preparations for the under 20, and also looking at the Red Arrows in terms of the league. Let's go into the next topic, Lameck. Let's look at the Copper Queens, and we've been told by Luyando Foundation that Evarine Katongo, even if she's not playing football, she's in the camp for the Copper Queens.
Yeah, for Evelyn, each team has key players. So, back in the day, should be the 2012, 2011 or so, we had one player who was clubless at the time and managed to feature for the Zambia national team. I stand to be corrected, but it should be, is it one of the important players in the 2012 team featured, I think, was it qualifiers or so, without a club. So sometimes you need to make those tough calls. And I support Bruce Mape when he called up Evarine Katongo, even when she hasn't been having competitive action. There are key players that don't need to be moved, no matter the situation, unless it's something really bad. But if they can play, if they have the fitness, yeah, they may not have be so much fit, but in the transition of training with the team and pushing through the friendlies and all of that, we may get her the match fitness that she needs for the World Cup. And then, yeah, we've seen photos of her in training with the team and all of that. You know, she's been under a lot of social media pressure, pressure from the clubs and all of that. And this whole issue has been stressful on her part. And I commend her for having, being so mentally strong, because a lot of other players would have never managed to be in such a situation and still hold their own and still smile, turn up for training, put in the work and all of that. So yeah, a lot has been going on in the background, but we hope for the best for Susan.
Yeah, sure. We hope for the best for Evarine Katongo. Let's also look at their preparation. We are told FIFA sent in the monies, approximately close to $1 million. That's a lot of money for us to do a lot of preparation for these ladies. Yes, we are told they're in camp. What else should they do?
Being in camp, the World Cup coming, 4 months, 3, 4 months from now. There's a lot that needs to be done in order to get the team in shape. Uh, if you look at the friendlies that we've been able to get, we got a friendly against Netherlands, we got a friendly against Great Britain. So this is the time when FAS needs to, yeah, the money is that coming, a good financial injection for the team, and then the team can actually make more money if they actually post positive results at the World Cup. You see, if they can go to the semi-finals or as far as the final or quarterfinals, yeah, they may make a good chunk for the team, and also, for Zambia as a country. This is the time when FAS needs to start getting those high level friendlies, exposing the girls to high level friendlies, and playing on foreign territory. We need to play with the big boys in Africa. We also need to play with the big boys on the world stage. Play friendlies with the Netherlands, with the Brazil, and other nations. This is the time to do that, and I'm happy that FAS has secured the slot at the Turkish Cup, where the team will go play a number of friendlies there. And then, we also were told that the Copper Queens will also have a high level friendly match here in Zambia at the Hero Stadium.
Yeah.
So we look forward to such developments and see what would be the best outcome for the team.
And it's going to be fun seeing them for the first time at Hero Stadium, because every time they've been using Koloma Stadium and Woodland Stadium. But for the first time, uh, the women's national team using the Hero Stadium, that's big, Lameck.
Yeah, the venue is big, but if you look at what they have done over the last 2, 3 years, you know, it's easy for the team to fill up that Hero Stadium, especially if they have a high level friendly or a competitive match. It's time that we have been seeing a number of headline, stadium attendances for women's league matches. We saw the El Clasico recording a record attendance. We saw, other friendlies in Britain. We saw league matches, breaking attendances as high as 89,000. Others going as high as 68, and all those numbers. So it's all about the belief and selling the team to Zambians, because Zambians can turn up and support, especially with the results that the Copper Queens are getting. So this is the time that FAS needs to sit down, put up a plan, and see which team can come and help us. Them playing at Hero Stadium, if we can get that Hero Stadium packed, we may also as well make a good chunk of money that can also help in the preparations for the team, because preparing a team is really costly, but it is in such situations that you can get to raise money and lessen the burden on the association and the one or two funders that are sponsoring the team.
Great. In your opinion, which opponent would you love to see playing the Copper Queens at Hero Stadium? South Africa, maybe, or Nigeria?
I would South Africa. South Africa would be an interesting opponent because we have what's the
Unfinished
best way
business
that I
with them.
can use? We have unfinished business with them. Zambians are still hurt by the fact that we lost at the death.
Yeah.
So for South Africa, yes, we have unfinished business with them. And then we can also go for teams such as Morocco. We may invite like teams such as Morocco. I think the World Cup bound teams, the Nigerians, yeah, we can get a friendly match with Nigeria and see. Yeah, that's a good match. But also explore, the European options or the American options. See if we can get an American team and bring it to Zambia and entertain the masses at the end of the day. Or maybe a European team, who knows? Get a European team, bring them down to Zambia and have that friendly here at Hero Stadium.
You remember the time when we were going for the women's Africa Cup of Nations, the WAFCON, last year? The team went quite early, so they can adapt and acclimatize themselves with a with a with a the weather there in Morocco. When it comes to the Africa Cup of Nations, when it comes to this World Cup, when do you want a team to be in New Zealand?
For a team traveling to New Zealand is not, I think the trip to New Zealand may not so much be going early to New Zealand may not so much be of a bigger impact. I think yes, we may go and acclimatize ourselves with the environment there, but what is important is how we prepare ourselves. Yes, we may go there and then we don't play
I mean,
competitive.
it worked for us during the WAFCON. We played even the two friendlies, one with Morocco and the other one with the club, one of the clubs in Morocco. I think it worked for us
Yeah,
during the.
yeah. What is important is if we can go to New Zealand and then have friendlies there. But if we can't secure friendlies wow in New Zealand, that becomes tough. So we need to get ourselves ready here or camp in New Zealand and then prepare ourselves for
Hi, Lameck, are you there? All right, so it seems Lameck has got a challenge there, but he'll come back. Or I had earlier on asked him what he thinks, when should the competition travel to New Zealand, comes with saying that doesn't matter as long as the team prepares itself very well. But one thing the Copper Camp uh, for this Hi, Lamek, you're muted. We can't hear you. All right, we seem to have lost Lamek there, but I'm sure he's going to join us so that we can continue with the program. So we're talking about the women's national team, which is preparing for the World Cup in July, and it's going to be held in New Zealand and Australia. A lot of things are being expected of the team, having gone all the way into the WAFCON and coming out second. That's how we qualified to this World Cup. uh, we've got a lot to do, because for us to compete with teams like Spain, Netherlands, the teams like USA, teams like England, teams like South Africa, teams like Nigeria, these are big teams uh, in terms of women's football. So we need to prepare adequately and challenge with these ladies. We be behind the Copper Queens, making sure that we put the support behind them as we want to channel where we can. God willing, will bring the games live and to you so that we enjoy together the World Cup as it happens there in New Zealand. All right, so we're going on the short break, then we'll come back and continue the show. Hi, Lameck, are you back now?
Yeah, I'm back now. Unfortunately, the network and and network challenges.
We'll put satellites where you are there so that uh, internet is not an issue. So earlier on, we were talking about when the team should travel to New Zealand because the team is going to be based in New Zealand, and the ambassador of Zambia there of Zambia in New Zealand said that he's ready to receive the Copper Queens. So when do you expect them, or when do you want them to leave Zambia and be there in New Zealand?
I think the team needs to travel. I think 2 weeks before the World Cup. Can be like 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before. Yeah, for me that would be ideal. We go there, acclimatize ourselves, have a number of training sessions, and if we can get a number of friendly matches. And then the only problem with having a number of friendly matches before the tournament, we may expose the players to injuries. So yeah, I may expect first to carry a number of players that may not be listed on the team, the initial list. At least maybe carry 5 players that may not be listed on that initial team in case of any injuries as the team prepares or gets ready for the tournament, and then see how far we can go with the preparations. And then when the World Cup starts, we get into it and hope for the best and work towards achieving our goal, which may be, winning the cup.
First appearance, first
You know,
appearance and winning the cup first time there. First punch.
yeah, a lot of times that we fail. Okay, this is my theory of life. A lot of times that we fail as people, it is because of the belief that we've put in our heads that we can't do it. When you convince your mind that you can't do something, trust me, you won't do it because your mind is convinced that it can't do. At the slightest challenge, you give up. But if you tell yourself that you can do it, with that continuous repetition that you
Yeah.
can do it, you can go all the way, we can achieve. We take each game as it comes, prepare for each game as it comes, and then we can go all the way, fight till the end, and see how best we can reach the finals or semi-finals. Set the bar high. If we can't achieve, we'll come back and reset, fight again, and see how best we can go about it.
Great. We wish the Copper Queens all the best. Lameck, last week we confirmed that Basil has joined TP Mazembe, and during the week we saw some highlights of him playing for TP Mazembe and scoring a brace. He seems to have settled so quickly. What's your comment?
Yeah, there has been a lot of excitement in Lubumbashi with the arrival of Alex Bazongonga. Him scoring week in, week out in the friendly matches. He scored 7 goals in 5 matches, which is a big positive for him. A lot is expected from him at TP Mazembe. He set the bar really high for himself. But this is a Bazo that we know because, look at Nkana, what he did for Nkana. And one thing you can't take away from Bazo is his passion for the game. He's really passionate about the game. He loves doing He loves playing football. He loves being on the field of play, and we can't take anything away from him. The highlights he deserves to make those highlights because it's clear that he's putting in the work, and it's a positive for Zambia. If he succeeds in Mazembe, he may be another Zambian that is succeeding at Mazembe. Look at the Calabas, look at the Singuluma, the Stopira Sunzu, the Hichani Mondes, the Tandi Mapes who are currently at Mazembe. And yeah, he joins a long list of other Zambian players who've gone to Mazembe and succeeded. He may join those players if he's consistent in the league matches and also in the continental games.
He has left a big gap from Ghana. I know he's crossed the borders. He's in Congo now. But what do you think? Can Ghana really manage without him? Or again, we saw what happened last week. Can Ghana really push through and survive this relegation without Alex Ngonga?
Yeah, Nkana can survive relegation. The January window is not yet done. They can, pull strings here and there, get one or two players in his position. They reportedly got $50,000 for him. They can spend the 20,000 on new signings, which is a big plus for the club. And you can, with $20,000, you can get a good forward. Around Africa, you can get a good forward around Africa, and then focus on surviving relegation. It's not all rosy at Tinkana right now. They have one or two challenges here and there, but life without Basel, they can do it. They can survive relegation. They just need to strategize on how best they can go about their business in replacing him, because they will need a replacement for Basel.
What of Christian side at Changa Rangers? He also left the team, and he said a goodbye he left the team in a fashion, scoring a brace, and that was his last game. The next thing we saw was Kaizer Chiefs unveiling him as their new player. How do you expect Nchanga now to reorganize themselves and continue life without Christian side?
Yeah, life without Saile may start out a little tough, but they got Siao Ibengi, who come in, and he's a good quality player. He'll come in. He may need a couple of weeks to settle in at Nchanga Rangers, but with Agrich Yangi at the helm, and Nchanga also looking to booster their squad, they may get one or two players before the window closes on Monday. So there's a lot that is going on in the background, but for Saile, one thing is that he's been respectful with the club. That is one thing I commend him. He came to the club, a little known Christian Saile came to the club, fought his way. He scored a number of goals in his first season. His second season was hit by an injury which kept him out for quite some time. And then last season he was given time again where he showed his class. And then here again, he's also leading the team again, and leaves the team as the club's top scorer right now as he leaves for Kaizer Chiefs. But throughout the process, he's been respectful with the club. We haven't heard of him trying to rebel against his contract. Even when suitors came, when he scored those 19 goals, a lot of suitors came in June, July, in August last year, I mean. A lot of suitors came, but he's been respectful with the club, waited for his time, and he lives with the club's blessing. That's how you go, and I wish him success. He's been a good servant of the game here in Zambia, and I wish him all the best.
It seems Zambia is the Super League is just losing strikers. Lost Kennedy Msonda, now Saili, also Ngonga. We hope that they'll perform wherever they are going. Lameck, let's flip the coin now. We know the transfer is closing on Monday. How is the market? Any speculations? Any rumors?
Yeah, we there are a number of transfers that are going in. Green Eagles just confirmed they have signed Lewis Macha from, as a free agent who joins them in a season-long deal.
Yeah.
This is a player that spent some time actually a lot of time in Mozambique. He went to South Africa, played for Kaizer Chiefs, played for Baroka. Yeah, so he joins Green Eagles. We also have, one player, Andy Boeli from Chambishi, who had reportedly gone AWO, but Chambishi maintained their stance and said, they are not ready to sell locally. And then the time will come when they will sell. It's not that they don't want to sell, but at this particular time, they are not so keen on selling him. They want to hold on and maybe see if there will be any interest from clubs abroad in the coming window in June. That is another case. We saw Austin Moore being released by Zesco United and going to join Power Dynamos, same as Bright Chideyu, who left Forest Rangers and went to join Power Dynamos. Those are some of the transfers that have made headlines so far. We also hear of Power Dynamos being interested in FC Muza striker Andrew Piri, but that is another tough transfer that may be tough to unlock for Power Dynamos.
However, I said that they're now rivals with Power Dynamos. That's a Zambian Super League for you. Let's look at the fixtures for tomorrow and also Sunday. Before we come to the one you are looking up to, the Muza versus Power Dynamos. Let's start with Red Arrows. They're at home against Kawi Warriors. Kawi Warriors running away from relegation for the first time last week after beating their city rivals in Prison Leopards. They're out of the relegation zone, but not safe because they're equal in terms of points with Chambeshi. How do you look at this game, Red Arrows, Kawi Warriors?
It's a really tough match. Number one, you have to look at what both teams have done in the past. That is number one. Red Arrows versus Kawi Warriors has always been a tough match. Another thing is to look at the coaches. Numba Mamba has lost his last 3 matches against, Chisimbewe. He was leading Zesco United. He lost his last 3 matches against Chisimbewe. Chisi will try and continue his dominance over Numba Mamba. Another tough match, but a Kawi Warriors side that looks more rejuvenated under Numba compared to the time that they had George Wandamina. So that is another tough match. But it being in Lusaka, Red Arrows are under pressure to perform. They're under pressure to pick a result. The first win of 2023. Kawi Warriors are also trying as much as possible to escape that red zone, go as far away as possible from that red zone. So it's a tough match, but we'll wait and see what the outcome may be tomorrow.
Who do you think will carry the day?
That one is a tough to predict match, but I think Red Arrows will carry the day tomorrow.
All right, thanks. Let's look at Nkana. Nkana, they're at home with Green Buffaloes, and if you look at the head-to-head for this game, usually it favors Green Buffaloes. They've been picking up points against Nkana. Nkana, like we've said, they are also running away from the relegation zone. Also on 23 points, just the same with Kawi Warriors. Another tough game at Nkana Stadium.
Yeah, it's another tough game, a Betway derby that is expected tomorrow. For Nkana, they have to dig deep if they are to beat that Buffaloes team. Buffaloes went to Chambeshi and managed to pick a result. They came home, drew against the Nchanga Rangers. They are, chasing for a top 4 slot. They want to go as high as the second place with a win. It's a tough match for both teams, but I think Nkana may have a slight edge, them playing at home. They may have a slight edge, and them coming from a loss there's a lot of pressure at Tinkana, and that may be motivation enough for the club to pick a positive result.
All right. Let's look at Napsa Stars, another team that we thought maybe they won't be that strong. They're just coming from playing national league, the Eden University. Then they're at they're away in Chobe against Green Eagles last week. What do you expect? Perry Mutapa is has not lost a game this year. He's picking up maximum points.
Yeah, when you look at this NAPSA team, yeah, the leadership of Perry, NAPSA have been patient with Perry. Even when results were hard to come by, they supported him, they backed him. And then results are paying. They've gone 4 matches unbeaten, with one in the first round, week 17. Until now, they haven't lost a match. So that talks about who Perry is, and his ambitions that he may want to, what he wants to achieve at the end of the day. He hasn't been overly ambitious. He's been always clear in wanting to survive relegation as his first priority. And they'll get there. They'll survive relegation and may actually fight to finish in a more decent position once they achieve that goal of securing their slot in next season's ZSL.
Great. Immediately when people saw Perry Mutapa and Avram Grant, there were rumors that maybe Perry Mutapa might be looking for a job as one of the assistant coach for Avram Grant as a local coach. Can you support that, Lameck? Do you think Perry Mutapa is one of the people that can really help Avram Grant to build the national team?
Well, I may not go as far as Perry being assistant at national team or anything like that. These photos, yes, there's a lot of detail to photos, but it's that kind of thing where a newly appointed coach comes and the first match he's watching is your match. So there's always that, as a show of respect, you go greet, say hi, exchange greetings and all of that. Perry
Yeah.
coming out as assistant and national team, that may be a possibility, but I don't think it may be something that NAPSA may be so keen about. It's not something that NAPSA want to hear right now, because they are flying and they may not want to lose their man. So those rumors, we set them aside. We'll wait and see. We already know of Moses Cichone being on the bench. So, and Avram also having his own assistant. So there's a lot to come. But for me, that rumor is not something that I may take seriously for now. Unless we see some developments coming in the coming weeks.
Great. Let's go to your game now. It's Monza versus Power Dynamos. Both teams can win the Zambian Super League this season. Monza started this. They're a surprising team for me this season. No one expected them to perform what they're doing right now. And when you come to Power Dynamos, Lameck, do you think this is another uh, thing that we saw last season? We saw Green Buffaloes starting very strong, and almost everyone was thinking this is their year, they're going to get the league, and then over a sudden they just lost that glory. They said losing games and they're not picking maximum points. Are we seeing the same with Power Dynamos? Because of late they've not been winning in the last 3 games. It's draw, 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 draw.
Yeah, for Power Dynamos, the impact of losing Kennedy was huge on the team. I think it affected the team's confidence. Yeah, Kennedy was important to the club, but all the goals that were scored were not, scored by Kennedy in the first round. The players that contributed. So if you look at the team, means that the team can still go on without Kennedy. They can still go on and win the league without Kennedy. So I'm happy that they managed to get Thomas Chideyo from Forest Rangers. I think he's a worthy replacement of Kennedy. He can score. He has the body. He has the height. He can score. What is just needed is how he will be managed by Mwenyachi people and his team. That is what will be important. But for Power Dynamos, I can't rule them out. They may win the league. They are in the best position. They are leading the log right now. A win for them may actually gain their confidence back, and then they may start grinding results again. For Musa's initial, point when they lost Masao, so a lot of people, threw them out of the window. People
Yeah.
thought that they may not go as far. They will struggle, come and struggle. But what do you know? Coach Lameck Banda, a young coach, given an opportunity and picking results. And the results that this team is picking are attributed to the coach. The coach has been a big influence on the team. The tactics that he's putting in, how good he is at reading the game, and his overall management of the game has gotten Musa to this point. They beat Chambeshi home and away, something that is a tough thing to do when you're playing against a tricky side like Chambeshi.
Yeah.
For Power Dynamos, they went to Power, held their own, drew. So here at home, Power may win, but we can't rule out a Musa victory. It's possible. A lot here are saying Musa may win, but it won't be a walk in the park. Power may come and defend until and score in the dying minutes. Who knows? Football is dynamic. Football is dynamic.
Yeah.
You don't win before playing. You only win
Yes.
after you play. So that we may wait and see how the result may come about. But Musa are in a really strong position to pick a result tomorrow. But a draw is also a very big possibility in this match.
A draw is a possibility. Lameck, if Musa wins tomorrow, should they now believe and say it's possible to win the Zambian Super League?
No, it's not about them believing that they can win the league, because they'll get excited about the idea of winning. So never get excited with the idea of winning. Put in the work, take each match as it comes, and then as long as results are coming, that we'll get something at the end of the day. Yeah, winning the league is a huge positive, but again, it comes with its own challenges. They will need some good financial backing in order to compete positively in the CAF Champions League or CAF Confederations Cup. That is another possibility that we need to look at. So winning the league, yes, it's a possibility. They may start to believe, but they shouldn't get excited. They may win against Power Dynamos and get that close to leading the log. That's a possibility also. So what is there is just them believing and see how far they can go. It's a joyride. Leicester did it. Musa can also do it.
All right, thanks. Let's look at the Sunday game. We only have one game. Both teams last week they had big wins. Zanaco winning 3-2 against Incana. Forest Rangers beating Beauticon 5-0. They are meeting at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium on Sunday, 15 hours. Another big game. Do you think Forest Rangers in this game, once they pick the points and closing up the point difference against the Power Dynamos, the difference between them is just 4 points. If Power Dynamos lose to Musa and they pick up the maximum points, just going to be 1 point between them and Power Dynamos. Do you think this is going to make them believe also that they might win the Super League, or they might play Continental next season?
Yeah, for Forest Rangers, I love the approach by Ian Bakala. He's been really patient with his team. He's pushed them one game at a time. He's been tough on the boys. He's been focusing on picking results. And a win against Zanaco may just get him that close to leading the log. Yes, Forest, tested continental football under Tenant.
Yeah.
It did not end that well, but they may pray for different fortunes. and this is the time to start those prayers and hope that things may work out. Put in the hard work, and hope for the best. For them winning the league, it's a possibility. They're in there, they're in it. They're not in it to just participate and make up the numbers. They're in it to win it. Whichever team is competing, they're all in it to win it. So for Forest, we can't rule them out that they can't go the way. They can go all the way and win the Super League. It's still an open race. 4 points is not so much. It's just 2 wins. Win two, one, the other team draws two, then you're already leading the log. So there's a lot involved. A game against Zanaco. Zanaco, yes, look more rejuvenated with the coming in of Amunike and his influence on the backroom staff and on the team. They look more rejuvenated. They're playing a good brand of football. It's a tough match against the Forest, and it has always been a tough match against Forest. A lot is expected from that match, but Forest may just win because they're at home. And Zanaco in Dola haven't had the best of times, so it's another tough match.
Great. Lameck, let's talking about Zanaco. Remember they signed a player from Nigeria, Inacho, and we introduced to him, but we've not seen him in action. What's really happening there?
It's one of those cases of a player, another one, Jacques Bakulu, who was signed back in the day, some year or two ago by Zanaco, again, never featured for the club. It's that case where you sign a player, but after they report for training, you look at them, they are not meeting the standard. At the end of the day, they don't make it to the team. Little has been said about Iheanacho. A lot was expected from him, but a follow-up will do. We'll see and make a follow-up and see how far he is. You may never know. Maybe he's injured, but it may not be that a case of success so far. All indications point that he may not be the player that Zanaco needed at the time. But we'll have to find out and see what really is the reason the player is not being seen.
Thanks. We've passed through the halfway stage of the season. In your analysis, which team do you think they'll play Continental, and which 4 teams will be relegated this season?
So when we go to the relegation, I think Butcon are the number one contender of being relegated. The other clubs in down below, it's a really tough one. But I don't think Nkwazi will make it out of that reason. I don't think Nkwazi have what it takes to survive. For Chambishi,
of Oswald.
Yeah, even with the appointment of Oswald, not so much may come in terms of results. Yes, they're not too far away from safety. They're about 5 points away from safety, which is 2 matches. Win 2, those on top lose 2. It's a possibility. They may survive. Lumwana also in it. They're trying as hard as they can to pick positive results and survive the drop. Same as Chambishi, who are also trying to survive the drop. But if you look at the caliber of the teams, Chambishi went, I think, 6-7 games unbeaten in the first round, which changed the complexion of where they are today. They may wake up and pick positive results.
I don't know if you noticed that. They were not. They were winning games, and the first game that they lost, that's when they gave a full contract to the coach, Mujembe.
Yeah, Mujembe was, his appointment was something that was pending. It was something that was pending and was just unfortunately announced at the time that the club had lost the match. But the team has seen how much positive work that he has brought in. Unfortunately, the second round hasn't been so forgiving to him. With the unavailability of a number of his key players, he struggled to get good results. But I feel with the January window, he's brought in 2 players. I think 1 or 2 more can come in and help the situation. and see how far they can go. So for Chambishi, they may survive relegation. That's a possibility. But the drop, it is real. One of the big guns. We may see one of the big guns dropping. We have the Nkanas, we have the Cabo Warriors, we have the Kansanshi Dynamos. One of those big boys may, even Changa Rangers, who knows? One of those big boys may just drop back into the national division, may be traveling to Mpulungu next season. Who knows? For the
Yeah.
continental game, I think Green Buffaloes have shown some consistency in the first round. They showed some consistency being in top four. Yeah, it's a positive for them. But again, Power Dynamos, I think, will get a slot. They may play CAF Champions League or CAF Confederations Cup. I think we are on a good run. Also, Forest Rangers may also get another slot. I think those two clubs are in a very good position to get a slot in that competition. We may not rule out Red Arrows. Red Arrows are 10 points away from top spot.
Yeah.
They are 6 points away from second spot. So we may not rule them out. They may win 2-3 matches on 3 back-to-back matches and get back in that race. So we may not rule them out. They're also a contender for that. Also, Zanaco are also in there. Naps are also in there, but those two, Power Forest, I think they have what it takes to finish, first and second.
All right. Let's look. Let's before we go. Let's look at the the FAS National League. Last season you were very strong. Mufulira Wanderers, they're not coming back into the league. This time around, are you giving them a chance?
Yeah, this time around we'll definitely give Wanderers a chance. I think they've done some positive work. They've put in some positive work in that team, and the work they've done can't go unnoticed. It's good that they've signed the players they've signed, and the results are showing. What they just need is consistency, because we saw towards the end of last season they just lost it when they did not get desired results in the last 3-4 matches. That's when they lost it. But this time I think they've learned their lessons. 2 seasons in a row they lost it at the death. They failed to qualify at the death. But this season I think they've learned their lessons from those 2 previous seasons. I think this time they will break the jinx together with Trident. Those 2 teams, I think Trident, Concola Blades, and also Mufulira Wanderers, I think they are top contenders to make it.
Kafue Eagles?
Kafue Eagles, yes, they're in it, but it's the National League is tough. The National League is really tough. It may not be compared so much to ZSL, but for Kafue Eagles, I think Mutondo Stars are also on a good run. They may also get, to win promotion. Mutondo Stars, for me, I go with Mutondo Stars, Concola Blades, Wanderers, and Trident. I think those 4 clubs for me will make it.
Thanks. Lameck, thank you very much for coming through. And I just want to get your last remarks and which game should the viewers look up to in terms of the Zambian Super League?
I think for the Zambian Super League, for me, I would advise people to go with 2 games, Zanaco Forest and also Power Dynamos Muza. Those are 2 tight encounters that may change the outlook of the top 6. The top 6, we may just see a change in the how the top 6 standings are after tomorrow's games.
Myself, I'll be looking at the game for Red Arrows. I hope they'll start picking maximum points starting from tomorrow. It's not been easy for Chisimu Dalambewe. We hope for the best for them as they're playing at Tinkoloma Stadium 15 hours. and also the game on Sunday for Forest Rangers and Zanaco. Uh, I want to see a different teams representing Zambia altogether. Yes, we've seen a lot of Zesco. I want to see Forest Rangers, and with the way Ian Bakala is performing, I want to see how far they go in terms of Continental, and I hope they're going to beef up their team and challenge for the Continental. From otherwise, Lameck, thank you very much for coming through. Uh, Hope to see you next week again here on Ubuntu channel as we discuss nothing but Zambian football. To our viewers, thank you very much for watching us. Join us again next week. From now, bye from